Hello and welcome to the second making of video. This is my song called The Gym. For this video, or for this song, I used only recordings that I got from my gym, and it was actually very much a struggle trying to make it, only because they were mostly rhythmic sounds, and so I had no idea what direction to go in. So we could listen to a few of it really quick and just check it out. So this part is sort of steps that get louder and louder, sort of like training and build up to something almost like repetition, so it's kind of thematic to the song. I'll let it play a little bit. So that's a little bit, and then we get to this part. And that repeats itself, and then we get up to more of like a... And so, the first thing I wanted to say was, when it comes to, because you have sounds that are very rhythmic based, so like stuff like that is very hard to make any melody, only because you don't have like long or higher pitched sounds which help you when making melody. So let's just quickly go through this one pattern to show you. So we have this. And let's see if we can find out what this was before. So let's just copy it so we don't ruin anything we did. And we're just going to reset some of this. Going to reset that, reset that, reset that. Bring some of this back. Put this here. And then so it was someone on a high bar spinning around, and it's sort of these like squeaky noises. And so to make this sound really quick, just to show you, a key to some of these to get their frequency is you have to sort of listen to the sound like as a whole. And so you want to hear the sound, and it'll play through. But you can hear, like if you start there, if you start here, like how that changes the actual sound. As you can see. So you see how that's like really, really, really loud? Because then you can actually shorten it with speed. I don't think it changed the speed from before, but I know because this is not tuned to anything, and when you're making a song you need all the pitches to be correct. So you want this scale, if you're using FL Studio, the scale will bring it to a middle C. So now when it's a C, now you can hear it has more of a tone to it. And I think I started about here. Yeah, I started about here, and then this pluck, so you don't get the whole sound, you get about that much. And and I brought up this, and it's like frequency protection, and it brings some of the harmonics back, and then this adds more harmonics. So then you get stuff like that. And then it turns into... So then with little squeaky sounds, you can actually make melodies. Rather than just always trying to create them from strictly plugins. This was actually just a recording, and it wasn't even the main part of the recording. It was just like a background part of the recording. So that's what I did there. I think one of the most impressive things is, for this, I actually made I'm going to play this kick drum. That kick drum was not ever a kick drum when it started. I actually made this kick drum from scratch. And what I did was, so this is the samples I have. The springboard, I had that, and I kept shortening and shortening it, and then I compared it to a real kick drum sample, and the frequencies, here, let's see if I can show you. So the frequencies are that a kick drum have, and the attack, the volume, the attack is like right about here, so I would increase the volume about here, and then I would kind of let the sample play out naturally so it would get quieter by itself. And then the frequencies I actually increased here also, because around 200 hertz, 300 hertz is where most of the bassy part of the kick comes from, so I increased that, and then I just kept shortening the length of it because this is a long sample, so I kept shortening it, and it would get smaller and smaller, and so your attack would be faster and louder, and it ends up being that. And then I had someone doing an event. I think it was on the Palm Horse, and it was their hands padding up and down, and so it's kind of almost a hollow tube that they're padding on, and it sounds like that. And so I took that and I kind of just pitched it up so it would be more like a snare drum sample. Let's see if we can find where that is. So this is one of the patterns. And so to make it sound more real, so this is the individual one, this is the higher pitch, and this is the lower one. But I put all of them together, and it kind of makes a better sound. That's just what I have to, so I figured out, so one of the tips would be to layer your notes, and a lot of times you can change the sound by itself. And then, I don't know if you heard it before, but there actually is a bass in here that goes along with this sample. So this part. So you can, it actually was the string thing before, except I boosted the frequency. You see it's the same, but you see the speed. So the speed knob is almost at 0. So speed has to do with how fast it plays through the sound. So the slower the speed, the more you can hear the harmonics and the frequencies. So it actually starts becoming more of like a like sine wave type of thing. And it makes it really good for basses. So as you can see, I have a lot of different types of it, just because they had different uses. There were these ones that are just very loud. I don't know if I actually used them anywhere. And so with Harmer, it's very easy to make a lot of these, I figured out. So it kind of worked out. But what I figured out is, since I had a lot of rhythmic bass sounds, that I would make a hip-hop song. And So that's why it has sort of that drum beat, and there's not really complex melodies so much. It's more about the beat and the rhythm, because I've kind of figured when you're training or something like that, it's sort of how your rhythm and your mentality, and you keep going and you keep trying. So that's kind of, it happened to work out thematically with the song, that it kind of is repetitious, and that it just keeps going and it beats over and over, and you can hear it get louder and more parts being added. And then you ultimately get to like whatever you're trying to do. So this would be the competition, because it speeds up and it becomes more constant. So it ends up being like that part. And then it's after the competition, then recovery stage, like stuff that you learned, and it comes back and it's sort of slow again, and it comes and it speeds up again, and then it speeds up more because you're at a higher peak than you were before. So some of these are a little too loud, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And so it does that, and then you can see and then we just get back to the end. I think it kind of goes slow again. So you go back into your training mode. And then again, another tip I wanted to show you guys, something I kind of was almost forced to do because I had too many low frequencies. So like if I take this out, oh, you can't hear it, okay. But I'll show you. So this string sample, the string sound in the background, see how it cuts out? It actually cuts out on beat. So it sounds sort of like it's moving and it's not stable, and it kind of gives it more of like a flow to the actual beat. But then when you get to parts like over here, so then you yet again have, and it cuts out again. And that's because there's low frequencies in this pattern here. And so this is without the cuts. And so it actually was conflicting with this bass drum by itself. And you can hear it kind of crackles every single time that bass hits. So this is volume, by the way, this pink like curve is volume. And so you take the volume and you have the volume lower when it actually hits, and then your bass frequencies don't compete as much, and it'll stand out more, and it'll make it easier to get the volumes and make it all sound more professional. You see, like that. Fits pretty nicely. And then what I did, and the reason for basses is because bass frequencies, there's a lot less room, so they compete a lot easier, and they will interact more, and you'll have more issues of them trying to overpower each other. When you get to the higher frequencies, there's a lot more room in higher frequencies, so they don't compete as easy, and it's easy to hear sounds more clearly. So you don't have to really do that trick too much. And to also increase like the space you're in, you can pan. So this is pan, so that means the volume is louder on one side than it is on the other side when you're listening to it. And so you can create like almost like you're in an orchestra, because like certain sections sit in one side, and so you only hear that section on that one side more. And so it creates more of like a room type of feel, not so much straight down, like in your face type of feel. So that's some of the tricks, and then you end up having a song like that. The last thing I want to tell you is what I learned a lot through this is it helped me to put ambient sounds like this. You hear the little like crackly stuff? That's someone rubbing like an ice pack on themselves, and so it actually creates like a little bit more like noise, like almost it's been battered and torn, and so there's something sort of like damaged about it, and it sort of is like a recovery stage because you're sort of damaged and you're learning from your mistakes. So it helped thematically when it comes to training and athletes and stuff like that, that it helped sort of create the space that you're in. Or something like the running gets louder and louder. If I mute this, it gets louder and louder because it finally comes into focus and you're like in your lane. And so stuff like that ultimately helps out your whole song, and it creates sort of the whole song together, and it fits, I guess. So yeah, those are my tips, and that's sort of the making of the gym. Thank you.